Hello and welcome to another episode of the Purple Coloured Glasses. Semi-finals edition. Freo's still around, playing Collingwood. Normally this time of the year we're talking about trades and who we're going to draft and who stays on the list. It's weird. We're still playing football this time of the year. I've got an emotionally vested interest in the games. Whew, it's been a while. Let's talk the Brisbane Demons game first. Then we'll talk about Freo against Collingwood. We're going to get into some of the matchups and talk a bit more in detail about that game. So first, on Friday night, we've got the Lions up against the Demons at the MCG. Will they break their 11-game losing hoodoo at the G? Will they break their hoodoo against the Demons, who seem to smash them every time they play them? Will Petrarca get through with a broken leg, very similar to Fife, who played actually quite well with his broken leg, all things considered. Just lacked a few mates out there, and I think it's a bit of a similar story for Melbourne, outside of a couple of blokes like Clayton Oliver, May. They need some more contributors around the ground, Melbourne. They're not getting as much as they were getting out of the fringe players last year. I'm talking guys like Spargo, Harms, Neil Bullen. These guys played really, really well at the back end of last year, and really complemented the cream they had. I thought Gawn played a remarkable final series last year as well, and just don't think it's at the same. They're not playing at that same level. They've got the capacity to do it, and I think maybe they just need to commit Max Gawn to the ruck, which it sounds like they're going to do, and play Jackson more up forward. Maybe not the best position for him, but you got to at least maximise one of your players rather than taking away from both of them. And their forward entries have to be a lot better. Where they sort of get out of jail a little bit is not necessarily amazing defence from the Brisbane Lions. So I think they can get the job done. I think Starcevic goes against Pickett and keeps him quiet, but I think the other guys get off the chain. I don't think they've got a good matchup for Bailey Fritsch, really. And I think they'll tag Lockie Neal. They'll go either Brayshaw or Harms and make it really hard for them. And I think when Brisbane haven't had Lockie Neal racking up 40 touches, they've struggled. You'll get, I think, a reasonable contribution from McCluggage, but they'll clamp down on Zorko, I think, as well, based on previous. And, yeah, they just find it hard to have other mids that rack up your 25, 30 possessions and move the ball forward. So, yeah, we go on the Melbourne Demons in this game. They are looking a bit flaky. I think they've won 6 and lost 7 since the bye. So they don't have that unbeatable aura they had at the start of the year, that's for sure. And the best time to break a hoodoo is in a final. So here's your chance, Brisbane. People will stop talking about it if you go off and knock Melbourne off. But let's talk more about the Freo Collingwood game. This is the one I've been licking my lips about. Normally, the qualifying final loser gets up and wins. And there's a few reasons for that. Normally, on the ladder, there's actually quite a big gap between the top 4 place teams in terms of win-loss ratio, percentage against the bottom 4 teams. So it's not actually that much of a surprise. Like, if you looked in the normal season and 4th place was playing 5th place, and there was a win-loss gap of 3 wins and a percentage difference of 10%, and you're playing at the home ground of 4th place, like, they're going to be the favourite most of the time. So yeah, when you get matchups like 3 against, so it's the Melbourne game. Melbourne's 2 against 6, right? So if that was a normal season game, it doesn't really surprise you the way the people are leaning with their tips and who they think's going to win. Where that's a bit different in this game is Fremantle have only finished a draw behind Collingwood. Our percentage is about 10% better than Collingwood's, and they won a lot of close games to put themselves in that position ahead of us on the ladder, so hats off to them. They deserve to finish there. But it's not like there's this huge gulf in class. It was like when Bulldogs won the flag from 7th, I think they had 15 wins. Like, they were still a fairly decent side. So We've This is one of those ones where the teams from outside the 8, we do have a chance because we have actually got a fairly good body of work behind us, I think. If you're a 12 or 13 win team, it is a bit fluky, I think, to knock out the qualifying loser. So I think that's working in our favour. And Taylor Adams being out for them is also a big out for them. Where it's challenging for us, big away game, there'll be... So they're saying it's a sellout, so depending on MCC members, between 80, 90, 100,000. I don't think it'll be 100,000, but yeah, somewhere between 80, 90,000. Foreign atmosphere, but we've been really good in Victoria. We've only lost to Carlton in Victoria this year. So I think we're a red hot chance. Our only game at the G was against the Demons, who are undefeated. We were down by 26 points at halftime and came back and smashed them. So if we can take some confidence out of that, not come in with the first quarter jitters, that would be ideal. And so now I want to talk about some of the matchups. So I think the backline matchups are really interesting. So I want to spend a bit of time talking about those. I think it's a lot in the transition game. So Collingwood, they're like getting the ball and then going fast the other way, whether that's through handball chains. But it's like they want to play on really quick. Where our intercept markers are more kicking types. So you're looking at guys like Luke Ryan, Hayden Young, and Chapman. They want to intercept, and they want to look for a kick through the corridor or to someone free. We just work the ball forward. When there's opportunities to run and carry through Walker and Jordan Clark, we'll do that. But predominantly, it's a safer build-up, where Collingwood will do a fast build-up. But both teams like to build it up from the back, and their backlines actually set up their attacks. So it's really interesting contrast in styles in that the philosophy is kind of similar in a way, but the way we go about it is actually quite different. For them, Jeremy Howe, really good intercept marking type player. I think he'll get the matchup on Jai Amos, and I think it'll be a much harder matchup for Amos. I thought he benefited a bit from the smaller Bulldogs defenders. There wasn't like a marking monster playing on him. And he did struggle in his one game before that when we played North Melbourne against Ben Mackay. And Ben Mackay is a quality key defender. So I think Darcy Moore probably runs with Lob, Howe onto Amos, and then Murphy on Griffin Logue. I think that's how they'll try to match up. Freo might try to get Griffin Logue onto Darcy Moore, because I think athletic profile type, they play very similar. Speedy, good leap. So maybe they'll try to do what they did with Stephen May and try to get Griffin Logue onto Darcy Moore. But it's easier said than done. And I think Braden Maynard, they may try to rotate him through the centre just to get a bit more, bulk and strength there with Taylor Adams out. Just give a few rotations. But I think if he plays on Michael Walters, he could really shut Walters down. But Walters has got a really good final record and rocked up last week. Could have had a 6-goal-1 type of game, ended up with 3-3. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one. And then the last one's Nick Dacos. And I've been saying for a while now is just forget that he's a first-year player. He's damaging every game. Someone play on this bloke. And I'm pretty sure the matchup they'll put on Nick Dacos is Sam Switkowski. And I think Sam Switkowski can really give Nick Dacos a bath. He's great close down speed, just on ya. Great one-on-one player. And he's got speed and game sense to burn Nick going the other way. Now, that's easier said than done, because even though he's a first-year player, he's played really, really well. And he didn't look lost last week against Geelong. But we need to recognise who the good players are on the team and do something about it. The midfield battle will be interesting. I think we've really got the advantage in the ruck. And if the boys just bring it from the start, like Darcy can he doesn't always come out of the blocks firing. He more grinds the opponent into the ground over the period of the game. And he's going up against Mason Cox, who can be a bit unorthodox, and Darcy Cameron. But really, he should beat them. and Roy Lobb when he's the resting ruck. He should do fine against them as well. And yeah, Brayshaw and Sarong, Brody, Mundy. Brody didn't have the greatest game last week, so yeah, just be good for him to get in under. For them, we know Jordan De Goey is carrying a bit of an AC injury into this game. Just need to control his explosiveness out of the front of stoppages. Pendlebury's a class act. The wing matchups will be interesting. So Josh Dacos for them. I wonder who will go that matchup. Will that be Blake Acres or if that'll be Nathan O'Driscoll? The wing matchups are interesting in terms of some of the ball movement opportunities. And then looking at our forwards, so I've touched on our backs because I've already sort of touched on our forwards. I think Alex Pearce gets Myercheck, either Alex Pearce or Cox. And then Ash Johnson, who's been a real surprise packet, I think, for the Pies, and he just seems to slot goals from wherever. So I think he's the danger man, Ash Johnson. And yeah, whether that's Chapman or they're going to go Cox or Luke Ryan, I think Luke Ryan or Cox is probably the better matchup. Pay him the respect, but they might have to put Cox on Myercheck and Alex Pearce on the resting ruckman, whether that's Darcy Cameron or Mason Cox when he comes up forward. And yeah, I think that's the way they'll have to go. Jamie Elliott, with an interesting matchup. Will they go Brandon Walker on him? I think that's the size matchup, but they could also go Heath Chapman on Jamie Elliott. He's played on a few of the smaller, more dangerous small forwards as well. In terms of last time we played, they smashed us in the wet. We were in a bit of a poor run of form. They were starting to come into form. And sometimes it does, just get a team at a good time, and maybe they got us at a good time, and we're now in a better position, and who knows. But I think missing from that game was Blake Acres and Switkowski, and Chapman as well, I think. And I think they add a lot to our structure, particularly Switter. I think Switter's one of our best forwards. He's criminally underrated, not by champion data, though, because he's elite. And Blake Acres does a lot of two-way defensive running, and probably what's been a knock on him previously, he hasn't really been willing to throw his body around, and he's a big winger, and he doesn't mind, by the sounds of, by what I'm seeing now, is he actually gets stuck in, which is great. So I think we can beat him around the contest. We're a fast team as well. It's just if it's a really high-scoring game, that probably doesn't favour us. They haven't got the monster forwards. And this was really interesting, is I think Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe as one-on-one defenders are probably better defenders than our defenders. And they've got Nathan Murphy playing as a good foil to those two. But our defense should smash their blokes. There's no Tom Hawkins, Jeremy Cameron in their team. Myercheck looks like he's carrying a bit of a niggle. But they're small players and the opportunistic players just making the most of their opportunities. And that's where I think we can get hurt. I think we can hurt them with our forward pressure and driving it out of the midfield. If Darcy can get on top in the ruck and we just lock it in the forward half, eventually, even though we don't necessarily have the greatest of entries, we'll put the score on the board. So my final tip, I'm going to go Freo. I'm going to go by 2 goals after trailing at halftime because we like trailing. We don't like leading the entire game. We like letting them get ahead a bit and then running over teams. Anyway, let me know what you think. It's a tough game going over there, the semi. Always the underdog when you're the elimination final winner. The odds are stacked against us, but we'll hopefully do it on the benefit and behalf of everyone in the AFL community and knock off Collingwood. Catch you all next week, and hopefully I'm in a super mood and looking forward to playing Sydney. Catch you all later. Bye.